Well, welcome everybody. This is Dr. Hank, and you know what we do here? We help real estate agents and brokers to increase their business and their wealth in amazing and different ways. That really, I was looking through some of the in the last year, and I would say that if everybody would just take the last year and watch, there's maybe I don't know, it'll take you 30 sessions, episodes, whatever. But if you do, I'm telling you, 2019 is just going to be amazing for you. And you know what I love about every week is we have somebody really special. And so, like last week, we had someone that just with a list of 150 people, never makes cold calls and was able to. His name is Slav and Polinsky, and he was able to build a $10 million business. Well, this week, we have someone really special because what they've done is they've mastered the way in order to get different niches. In fact, it's a best-selling author of a book called Condo Living. And Ryan Shea, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Hank. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. You're amazing, and what you shared about the podcast are so true. I listen to all of them. I love what you do, and without you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, I love the name of your book on condo living. It's specifically in Dallas, but it's condo living in anywhere. And that you have in there kind of the other phrase behind that is how to get into the new lifestyle, the new condo lifestyle on that. And before we start, I just want to have people understand just what an amazing person and agent you are, that you have about a $12 million business, and so even more than some of the agents that we've had. So you're one of the top agents in America. And again, we have written this book that's available to people, and we can talk, more about that. But you've really been able to one of your niches, and so you know that to get into a niche is so helpful, and condo living. And so let's talk about that first. And we have a lot of fun things to talk about today. But tell
Yep.
me about condo living, and let's kind of go back, if you wouldn't mind, start just briefly on kind of how you got into real estate, and then specifically how you got into condo living, how long you've been an agent, and whatever. Just give us a little background so we understand your journey and how you got into being the expert of condo living.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, fortunately for me, I mean, the first home that I lived in was, well, not for, it was the first residential home that I owned
Yeah.
was at the W here in downtown Dallas. So I immediately had the condo living in my blood, you might say. And so, you know, look, my path has taken me in a couple of different ways in order to be in real estate. If you don't mind, I'll back up just a little bit and share a little bit
Sure.
about my experience with, because for 10 years I was a college soccer coach, and I at a Division I school, and just up north here at Austin College, I was at a Division III school coaching the men's soccer team, and then I moved down here to Dallas and was at a sports medicine clinic for a few years. And ultimately, though, those were all opportunities for me to come into the real estate business. And one of my good friends and mentors said, "You know what, Ryan? I think you'd be really good at real estate and do really well at it." And so, I did, and I got into this business. And I think what's interesting, Dr. Hank, is when I got into the business, people said, "Oh, this market is awful. It's horrible." It was a buyer's market. The market had totally crashed. But, the thing is, I didn't know any different, right? So I
Right.
started working with buyers and, started helping people, find their dream homes. And, of course, I immediately had that kind of condo mentality and mindset because I was living in a condominium. However, at the beginning, I just was like, okay, what do I have to do? Let's put some deals together and make this work. And here's the thing I just want to share about that because, because people talked about it being an awful market, right? Well, people who bought during that time, ask them now if they think that's an awful market. They'll tell you, no, that was great. It was freaking amazing because I bought at such a low price. I had, people I'm selling their homes now have appreciated double since when they
Oh
bought, So,
my God.
um, I just something I think is important, and a lot of times we get caught up in this like, oh, well, it's this market or that market, or it's a condo or a single family, or or all of these things, and so yeah.
And if I could
um,
comment on that, that you're exactly right, that really every market is a good market if you look at it that way. But if you start listing, and this is a principle that I teach, is don't any longer honor the God with the small g, the God of other people's opinion. The only opinion that's important is the opinion between you and your soul, God. And the way you know that opinion is if you feel good. So, like right now, if you're saying, "Oh, there aren't enough houses out there," okay. Well, if you say that, you're not going to get enough houses out there. You won't have inventory, and you'll see that.
mhm.
I have people that are finding homes all the time, are getting listings all the time, and it's about their mindset and about for them to do it. And like you say, you were kind of naive initially in saying like, "Hey, I didn't know any better." And when you don't know any better, then
Mhm.
everything plays out for you. But now you actually know better to where any market is a good market. You just have to look for that opportunity in there because when, in fact, it's to your advantage for other people to say, "Oh, like November, December, January, and February aren't good months for home selling." Well, if you think that, that's really cool because it helps us other agents. And so there's less agents out there.
Absolutely.
And there's actually, just in the DFW area, for example, there's going to be 4,000 homes at least that are going to be bought and sold here, in this month, and we're in November in this month. And so it's like your whole mindset. And what I love about you, Ryan, is you've decided not to honor the God of other people's opinion, and instead start looking for the opportunities, and you got them. And one of the opportunities was in condo living. And like you say, it kind of fell, it's kind of like dominoes, just one thing, and you're on your lighted path that, here you're living in a condo, other people tell you, to get into real estate. And so pretty soon, you're an expert in condos.
Exactly, exactly. And I think, what's interesting about condos is, a lot of people are probably more familiar with single family homes. But I think what's important to understand, and there's a lot of nuances and things within condominiums that you need to have an expert. You have to have an expert. For example, at the W, like if you just went down there with someone, just some random realtor. I'm not saying that it'd be
Right.
bad or anything, but what some people might not know or understand, like at the W, there's an underground parking garage. Well, that's great, right? But the one thing that a lot of people don't know is that that underground parking garage connects you to the north tower of the W and the south tower of the W, right? So if it's cold outside, there's celebrities down there, there's professional athletes, and maybe they don't want to be walking out on the street. Well, guess what? They can walk down underneath this parking garage to get over and go back and forth in between the towers. And a lot of people are not going to know that. However, I lived in that building and I knew that market, and I asked questions, and I think that's really, really important. In fact, that's one of the chapters in my book is about asking and understanding the right questions to ask, like how does this HOA work? When do you guys meet for your board meetings? How much do they take care of the exterior of the facilities? What's the insurance like within the HOA? What's my insurance going to be like if I buy, right? So all of these questions, we could spend, probably 2 days going through all that, but it's important, right?
Yeah.
It's very
And so if I
important.
can, I want everybody to, you probably need to rewind this a little. And I know, Ryan, that's one of the things that you do really get the most out of these podcasts is to rewind it because you just asked some key questions here that the normal consumer, your prospect, your client isn't aware of. You are. And so you just had some great questions there. So can you kind of just go through again, like if you would look at on condo to become an expert in condos, that can we maybe go by chapter and kind of look at and so like the uh, condominiums defined. I think we're kind of in the order of that, but let's kind of go through the book. And I think the first one would be condominiums defined. So what is a condominium, and why do you have that in the book? Why is that important to know?
Sure. So, what a condominium is. So that's a really good question. And in fact, in the book, it goes into detail on all of these different components, but there's high-rise condominiums, which are generally, 4 or 5 stories and up, right? The W would be considered a high-rise condominium because there's over, 20, actually there's 30 stories there. And so there's, several high-rise condominiums in most major markets, right? Then
Right.
there's a standard condominium that may be 1 story, two stories, right? Then there's townhomes, okay? There's townhomes that are, townhomes with a survey that are specifically just called townhomes, okay? Then there's townhome condominiums, and there's differences in the way that they're zoned, okay? So, and if they're zoned as a condominium, you don't get a survey, and the financing is a little different, so there's variables there. The other aspect within the book that I go into are zero lot lines or villa homes or garden style homes are all the same thing. They have very small lots, and some townhomes are similar to that as well, and they have a small like little backyard or something. Um, and one of the and there's single family attached homes as well that here in Dallas we have a lot in the Park Cities and the Highland Park and University Park areas. So you know and a lot of people don't understand what that all means, and understanding that even that difference that I talked about between a townhome condominium and an actual townhome, and
Yeah.
knowing the difference
And
between
what is
those
that
two.
difference?
And also, so a townhome condominium is basically you don't own the land that's underneath you. Generally speaking, a townhome you do. You get a survey with the property. So one of the major things with that is it's because of the zoning, it's financed differently. There's different financing options for a townhome versus a townhome condominium, and there's it gets into several other components within the book as far as the number of investors that are in a certain complex, and the number of people that own in those complexes that are that actually live there, and it's their homestead, right? So um, several nuances like that are important to understand and know
Yeah.
about, and that's why you need to have an expert to know those nuances and
Yeah.
and understand that niche within that market. And one of
Sure.
the things to understand within condos, you could have a condominium that are right next to each other and could be totally different markets, totally different. And what I mean by that, one of them can be a buyer's type market, and one of them could be a seller's type market. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's all relative, and what plays into that could be the amount of the HOA dues. Maybe one of the HOAs is really, really high, and maybe one of them is really, really low, and that type of thing, or the prices, the finish outs that were in the condos. Are different from one to the other, and the prices are different. So um, I think that's important to understand and be aware of. Because some people just like blanket like, oh well, it's this type of market. Well, the market is different from literally one side of the street to another, and you better be aware of that, because
Yeah.
it's just I think that's important to know. And
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
And tell me, how are condominiums developed differently? That I think you have a chapter in there, and can you talk a
Yeah.
little about that?
Yeah. So, you know, condominiums, I can speak specifically to Dallas here, are developed, and there's been actually a lot of development of condominiums and townhomes here in Dallas. And in fact, one of the things I write in the book is that, I believe our state logo should be changed to the construction crane, because they're all over the place around here, because you have people developing these properties at just astounding rates, and it's just,
Yeah, yeah.
and one
That's
of
a
the things,
great one.
yeah,
Dubai is the fastest growing city in the world, and we're in Dubai and actually looking at it for EXP Realty and expanding there. That
yeah,
all you did was see cranes, so there's a lot of growth, a lot of prosperity, and of course that all boils down to, every agent should know that there's more jobs there, and so if
exactly,
there's cranes, there's jobs,
yeah,
and there's this growth. So I love that the new state, they, instead of the star, do the
yeah,
cranes on that. And
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I love that. And what's the first steps, like, for smart buyers, the mindset? And everything's about mindset. It all starts, everything that we create starts with our mindset. And what are the first steps that the smart buyers should know? In other words, to help educate your buyers to become a smart buyer with condominium.
Yeah, so I think here's probably the first thing to understand with condominiums. And I'm not gonna, for the most part, when someone buys a condominium, it's generally gonna be at a lower price than if they go and buy a single family home. In fact, in a neighborhood here in Dallas, I was just looking at this the other day and comparing the two, for a potential buyer, is that there was a condominium that was 1,400 square feet going for $200,000. Same neighborhood, same schools, just right around the corner. Single family home that's 1,400 square feet, same size, is going for over $400,000. So there's a
Oh,
$200,000 difference in price between a condominium and a single family home. And
yeah.
I think a lot of times that's what people are doing. And you mentioned about people moving to Dallas. And
Right.
the last numbers I heard was that on average, we're having 150,000 people a year moving to DFW. And
Yeah.
so what do people want to do? Maybe they don't understand, or they don't know the market very well. They come here. And I think for a lot of people, buying a condominium is a good play, because you're going to buy it at a lower value than you would a single family home. You
Yeah.
can come here, understand the market, and then, my mindset a lot of times with, helping these people, think about it as an investment. And real estate is an investment. It doesn't matter if you buy it as your homestead, and that's all anyone ever wants to do. Well, there's going to be appreciation. You're going to get a nice fat check, generally speaking, when you sell that house. And
Right.
for someone who comes here that's maybe moving from California or Florida, or internationally, that's moving here because of, the international prospects of what we have here with DFW Airport, and
Sure.
we're easily able to access everything. We're right smack dab, almost in the middle of the country, so someone can come here, buy a $200,000 condo, live there for a couple of years, and if they want to go to buy a single family home, then they can go do that. And the thing that, one of the things I, recommend and have people think about is, okay, you buy that $200,000 condo and you move out of it for a couple of years, you can use that as an investment and lease that out. And I think one of the great things about that investment of leasing that out is that, like, the lease prices here in DFW and the need for leases is like skyrocketed. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a good market, and something for you to have some passive income as well as you
Yeah.
move forward, into your next home. And it's maybe someone as well would want to, stay in the condos and condo market. And that's one of the things I see is people flip flopping could flip flop back and forth, and
Yeah.
a lot of people as well, Dr. Hank, they've lived in single family homes their whole life, and I would say most people, and that was my experience. I grew up in suburbia, outside of town, in a single family home in an acre, and grew up in that way, and it was great, and it was a lot of fun, and uh, and I think a lot of people have been used to that lifestyle, and then they start understanding a little bit about the condo market, and how good it is, and
Yeah.
that the cool thing is that, and I think you understand this as well because you live in a condominium
Sure.
as well. Is that right?
Right. Right. You
You
bet.
live in a condominium as well. Is that,
Yeah.
look, when you leave, you shut the door and you leave, and you don't have to worry about a yard. You don't have to worry about calling someone to go over and do something. It's just
Right.
everything is taken care of. It's
Yeah.
turnkey. And I think that's something that's very attractive to people.
And that's great that you bring that up because, most people say that you can what leave and lock it up, and so I say leave and love and
Yeah,
LOVE, right? So
that's
I can
awesome.
just leave it and love it, and so like we're traveling to Egypt next week for a couple of weeks, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're locking it up, and we actually have our next door neighbor taking care of Bella. And, I've had the $1 million home and blah, 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 all that, and own lots of different homes. And man, now I just love this lifestyle because we have just a great, condo and a great view on the 15th floor, kind of like your view behind you, so it's a great
Yeah.
view. There's a lot of advantages to condo living, and it's not necessarily, empty nesters. That we actually have young people here. We have people with, children here, and because there's different sizes of condos, whatever, and then your car is protected. Parking is in the basement. You don't have to be out in the cold or the hot or whatever,
Hmm.
depending on the time of year. So it really can provide for some people like everything that it's not for everybody, but it certainly is for some people, and to educate
Right.
them. And so those are just some great awareness. But I'd like to ask now that how do you help your clients with what I think is really important is to before they sign the dotted line, if you will, what
Hmm.
value do you offer to your clients in order to really make sure that they understand everything and that this is the best choice for them on what they want? Can you talk a little about that?
I think, yeah, and it's really one of the reasons I wanted to write this book, because I
Right.
wanted to be able to provide that value to my clients and my customers, and anyone else out there that says, hey, look, here's a manual. This is a design for living within the condo market, right? And
Yeah.
I think everyone wants a design for living. We want a map. We want to know, we want to understand, we want to made to be feel, I want to feel comfortable, right? It's one of the
Right.
big things. I want to have fun, right? And I want to
Yeah.
enjoy myself, right? And
Yeah.
so I wrote this book as a way to provide that value to my clients so that I could say, hey, here's a piece of literature on the condo market, and this is going to be our guide, and one of the things, if you don't mind, I want to go back to, because I
Sure.
was kind of talking a little bit about the empty nesters. I just want
Yeah.
to share a little bit about my wife, and
Oh,
we have a 15-month-old son, and
yeah.
we live in we live in a condo, and yeah, he's a beautiful little guy, and so is my
Sure.
wife. Just I'm the luckiest guy in the world to
Yeah.
have the kids that I have, and
Yeah.
here's one of the things that she had mentioned to me, is that she felt comfortable at home when she was alone with my fit, when he was, a baby and an infant,
Yeah.
and as he's
Right.
growing, because she knew all of our neighbors and they were right there close to us, right? And that she felt like if anything came up, that she would be able to access them. It's another
Sure.
thing that you talked about, is understanding and knowing the security of the property, right? And you know, there are many condominiums that have 24/7 security,
Right.
24/7 concierge,
Right.
24/7 valet, right? They have
That's
all
what
of
we
these
have.
things.
Yep.
Yeah, is it gated? Is it not gated, right? And and I think all of those things are important, and that people do feel comfortable and they do feel safe and they feel like this is someplace that, they can call home and feel comfortable and knowing that they're going to be taken care of. And that's ultimately,
Yeah.
you asked about what the value and what I want to do is I want to make sure my clients are taken care of, man. They just like, um, they just say, man, Ryan will do everything that he can to take care of you and do his best to just,
Yeah.
guide you through this process in a loving and kind and generous and fun way, right?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
some fun while we're doing it.
Exactly. Exactly. I just love it. And folks, again, you should be writing this down because it's really the key on how Brian has over a $10 million business is because he has that wanting that desire to want and ask for help. I ask God for help. Hey, I want to be able to just give it all the best to it. We want to have fun together during this process, enjoy ourselves. It's like having new friends, and he really does take care of them. He writes personal notes and does all kinds of things. So I want to leave this subject, but before we do, can you just tell us, because we have a few other amazing things to discuss with you, because you are such a high
Yep.
level agent, and you don't want to get into that. But so your book, that how can we contact you in order to get your book, soft copy or hard copy or
Yeah.
whatever that so what are those steps? How can we contact you, Ryan, if we want to become an expert? Because in essence, what Ryan has done for all of us is he's given us the guide in order to be an expert for your clients. And it's literally step-to-step expert. So how would we get a hold of you or get a hold of your book?
Sure. You can go to condolivingdallas.com, and
Okay.
that takes you to the website, and we'll have a free chapter of the book there, and you can purchase the book there, and also get to know a little bit about the condominium market, and so that's one way, and also Shea DFWRealty.com is another way to access that as well.
And
And
Shea is S as in Sam, Hea. Yeah.
yeah, that's correct. Shea, like Shea Butter, Shea Stadium in New York.
uh, and the main one is Condo Living
Con,
in Dallas.
condolivingdallas.com. So yeah,
Dallas.com. Okay.
condolivingdallas.com.
.com. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And then, so I want to just switch gears here, because
Yep.
within this whole topic is something very valuable that I just want to invest a few minutes on. But your credibility just escalates to the highest level when you're if you're looking, at who's going to be buying or selling with an agent, and to make a choice. You have a book, and you basically are winning, virtually all of your deals because of that book. Adds such credibility. Can you just share briefly on how to write a book, and just maybe a couple of steps, or how they could get started in order to write a book, if they want that credibility, and really could be in any niche that you would want, $1 million homes, luxury homes, commercial, whatever it is. But can you just share with us briefly on what you did in order to write this book?
Yeah, I think, I listened to your last podcast as well. Forgive me, I don't remember the guy's name, but it was about writing a book for expertise, right? And
Yeah.
I could relate and identify to one of the things that you shared in there that was important to me and really helped me. And it took me a while to do this, and I hit some blocks sometimes and had to, but one thing that I did is I have a practice that I've been doing pretty regularly, and I get up early in the morning and I do meditation and I get in touch with my higher power and God, and I
Oh,
also do automatic writing. And one of the things that kept
oh,
coming up in this automatic writing, I would just say, like, God, what do you want me to do? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? Right? And it kept coming to me like over and over. You need to write the book. You need to
wow.
write the book. Kept coming up over and over again. I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to write the book, right? And it's taken me a while. It took me a
Yeah.
while, and
Yeah.
but a part of that process of getting up early in the morning helped me because I would do those steps, do that practice early in the morning, then I would
Yeah.
immediately get over to my computer and start writing. And in fact,
Yeah.
I mean, it took me probably a year to do this, But I like the last couple of chapters, I knocked out in probably a week because I got up early in the morning and my mind was just like in tune, turned on, tapped in, like just on it, man. I was just like, and it flowed and it felt good and it was just, it was great, and fortunately for me, Dr. Hank, I
Yeah.
met you and you have been a godsend for me to be able to take the steps now that I have everything written to get it edited. And someone
Yeah.
had mentioned to me, a good friend of mine, you're going to be on his podcast, Michael Sandler, said, look, you don't ever, you could do editing for the rest of your life, right? I could edit this book forever, right? And just like, like, he's like, you abandon editing, you abandon it, right?
Right.
And when he told that to me, I reached out to you. You got me in touch with an editor,
Yeah.
and it just, I just sent it there and let it
Yeah.
go and let them do their professional business and work and get it done, right?
You bet.
And that's been invaluable to me. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll expand on not just that part of our business, how we've been working together, but beyond that
Right.
as
Right.
well.
Yep, yep. And so a couple things and comments on that. That Nick Raphael was Raitheel, and he does the 7 hour book. And basically, you can have a free session with him and just look through my podcast, or email either Ryan or I. We can send you that podcast. And so basically what you've been saying is, hey, you get up in the morning, or pick a time, but usually the first thing in the morning, and just start writing. And that's how I've written 12 books now, and just came out with my latest one, 13 Easy Steps to More Money. And it's a thick book. Like did you see that?
Oh, wow.
That baby is
Yeah.
is big and thick, but just as, and so it's not a race, in order to get to it. But the point is that we can help you, and Ryan and I would be willing to, help you in order to tell you the steps and where to get it. Again, we're not going to share it in this particular show, but know that you can reach out to us and we can help you get your own book. And I've had a guy like do an international book and be the expert for people coming in to his city that he lives in, and to get international business. And so he's now known, and one of the reasons those steps was this book. So it adds a lot of credibility. And just know, again, Ryan are here. We come from heart, and we want to just help you to become more successful. I do want to switch gears again, just as again at time, and we just have amazing things. You're not, we basically have become condo experts in this. We've also understand the steps and the easy steps to start on writing a book. And then the last subject that I'd really like to talk to you about is, I know in the last couple of months that you changed brokers, and I'd like to,
Hmm.
better understand that. Why did you change? Kind of where were you? Why did you change? Has your business grown? What have you done in the last 2 months to did that? Do you have any leads? So anything that you'd like to share with us on, where you were and where you went and why you did it.
Yeah, so great question. And, ultimately, Dr. Hank, this book was one of the deciding factors that made me and helped me make the decision to go to eXp Realty, because I knew that making that move and the way that eXp is set up, that I would be able to grow my business and grow my business with a team that not only that would benefit from, you know, working under me and with me with this Condo Living Dallas book, but that they would also benefit from the way that the structure of eXp is set up, that I would have no way
Yeah.
ever. If I
Wow.
started my own brokerage, because that's what I was thinking about doing, I was on this path. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to share how I met you
Sure.
and how I started on that path.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I had a closing one day, and when I was leaving, it was in Preston Center here in Dallas, and I was leaving that closing, and I was driven by this juice bar called the Gem that I frequent regularly, and something told me to go back there and just celebrate. Something told me, like, go celebrate and have fun, right? So I did. I went back there,
Oh, I
And
got Godfather.
this isn't the beginning of this isn't the beginning of a joke, but there's two guys in a juice bar, right? I mean, Dr. Hank and I were the only two people in this juice bar, right? And I was over next to the I was over next to the refrigerator where they have these drinks, and I think we ended up both getting turmeric shots, which we both love. And but anyways, I overheard him say his name, and he walked back around after he had paid for his stuff, and I said, "Excuse me, I think I overheard your name, and what did you say your name was?" And he said, "Dr. Hank Seitz." And I said, "Oh man, I know of you, and because I had received some of your emails and blogs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and our relationship started there, and then we met for. I went to a lunch and learn, heard about EXP, and I was like, man, this is amazing. And this, to me, it was all answered prayers. You
Oh,
talk about that. It's something important to me, was that a prayer was answered for me that day in that juice bar, and it was meeting you and then also being introduced to EXP. And it has been, the best thing that's happened to me in my business. It has exploded.
yeah.
EXP explode, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
has, and it's
Yeah.
been an amazing experience for me, and I'm just extremely grateful. And one thing I just want to share as well, like with the Condo Living Dallas, with the book, and just I want people to think about this, and that we do have the heart of servants, and we definitely do, is that this book can be done anywhere. It could be
Yeah.
Condo Living Manhattan. It could be
Right.
Condo Living LA. It could
Yeah.
be Condo Living Tampa, whatever it is, in all of these areas. So
Yeah.
if you're sitting here listening to this and wondering, can I do this? Trust me, you can. You can do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and we'll help you. And I mean, I'm even going to go so far as say we could maybe even use your original manuscript and then just change around the different places, and that way
Absolutely.
we kind of have it done. So folks, we just offered you, and Ryan just offered.
Yeah.
Well, I offered it without permission
I,
from Ryan.
it's all good. That sounds awesome.
That you just change the Dallas to whatever city you
Yeah.
want, and then change the specific, areas and examples he has to your own examples, and you can get those examples just by, going to a few condos or whatever. And so yeah, and basically what Ryan had seen is this dochankwebinar.com, and it's where I have just a short webinar that will share with you on how to have three streams of revenue that as agents have never had before. And the first stream is that we basically EXP said, how do we get each agent to do $10 million? And they said, well, here's the secret to them is really good training, and so they have the best and the most training in the industry, and then under my umbrella, training like to do the lead programs and different things and mindset, et cetera. And then also to have the leads program. And so they provide the number one leads program in America. And so, Ryan, just on that one stream of income, which is increasing our business and thus our commissions, can you share with us what happened? What's your experience in the last 2 months? How much business have you done in the last 2 months? And then tell us a little about the lead program, if you would.
Yeah. So yeah, KV Core is the lead program, and it's absolutely amazing. And in fact, I'm going to be meeting with an agent today to show them and explain to them this process, and,
That's awesome.
and and just how easy it is. And in fact, what I would recommend doing, go back to one of Dr. Hank's, or you did two podcasts, and I can't remember their names either, but there were two podcasts of two EXP agents, and
Yeah.
they take you step by step through this process on KV Core. And all I did, you hear Dr. Hank say this all the time, write stuff down, write these things down. Don't just listen to it, write this stuff down. So what I did later on that night, I got on there, I watched the video, and I just wrote down step by step. I had to pause, rewind, do all this stuff. It took me about an hour, but an hour of my time to get 20 leads within the first few weeks that I had signed up for EXP is absolutely amazing.
So,
And
folks, if
and
you
the other
hear
thing you
20 quality leads, he got in the first 2 weeks on using KB Core. And I actually have four training uh, uh, guides for you, sessions for you that will help you do that. And two of them are on my podcast. And again, you can just ask about that and you can do it. And even if you don't join the EXP, it's available. It costs, in fact, I just found out on the cost
Yeah.
on that. Today, they because it's so effective and they updated it, but it is it's $6,000 a year if you're just going to use it for yourself, and it can be as high as $14,000 a year. So you can go buy it or join EXP, and it's just $50 a month, which is kind of a
Yeah.
no-brainer, right?
I yeah, I like the $50 a month thing way better, right? And there's just and like you said with the other streams of revenue, I mean, look, where else are you going to go and get stocks? Where else are you going to go and be able to have 5 ways to earn stock in a company? A stock that has just freaking shot out of the roof as well, by the way, and also to be able to build my business through revenue sharing, and it's an amazing, just wonderful opportunity. And since I've joined EXP, I immediately, everything, I have over $3 million right now that I'm working with and closing, and so
So, folks,
just
again,
two
hear that.
months.
Yeah, in 2 months, he has over $3 million. And gosh, only a couple of weeks ago, it's $2 million. This guy, he is just rocking it, and over $3 million in 2 months. And he attributes it mainly to, EXP and being here and the lead programs and all the education and so in those three streams, like stocks, sometimes people don't understand. This is, real. It's like a savings program. We're giving you money, kind of like a 401k, where we're giving you money and for closing your first deal every year, and so just some amazing things. And so, anything else? Like, how did that change your business strategy? Like before, you were just doing homes, and basically for really all of us that you just keep on doing homes and you kind of don't get anywhere, if you will, because you're not most aren't building a savings program. But how has your business strategy changed in the last couple minutes that we have left in the show? How did that change for you, Ryan?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, my business strategy has totally changed. I mean, in fact, we had a lunch and learn yesterday, and I brought this up where I had an agent from Atlanta reach out to me on LinkedIn, and 3 months ago I would have been like, whatever, right? But now I look at that and go, look, I can spread the good news to this guy and help him with his life and his business and provide value to this guy and give him an opportunity to answer his prayers. Because if anyone watches this, if anyone considers is doing this or this is a prayer that will be answered, right? And so I don't, that's just one example of how my strategy has changed. And obviously, utilizing the leads program, and the cool thing about that is it's a social media platform, and I can really focus on specific areas within the condo market and really try to hone in and go after that. And it's really cool, really effective. And I feel amongst men most richly blessed, and I just feel like these opportunities just keep getting better and better, and it's just wonderful. And
Uh, you're
all as a
just
result of just meeting a guy in a juice bar. So it's gonna
oh, oh my God. Well, I got God bumps all over me, and you're just such a kind and wonderful man. And I know you take such good care of of everybody that you touch. You take good care of them. You've already sent me like thank you notes and everything. And people
yeah.
don't do that. So you have that special touch, and we'll have you on again on the show to share more of that. But we are out of time now, and so just one last thing, and that is, what would you like to leave, with everybody that has really gotten to know you better now, and understand how you're the expert in condos, how you'll help with books, and they want to write a book, add that credibility on how to be able to get lead programs and to bless people. That do you have any last minute thoughts that you'd like to leave with all of us?
Yeah, something that came to mind, Dr. Hank, is something that I've heard you share in one of your presentations about how thoughts become things. And we
Yeah.
have these things that come up like that we don't want, right? And then we have these things that we do want. And and I think sometimes writing a book, doing these things, making a decision to change a brokerage, taking these steps, meeting with a client, doing these lead generation things, right? Sometimes our mind tells you, I'm not good enough, right? This is not what I'm supposed to do. And the thing is if I follow that path of those things that I don't want, it will manifest in my life. However, if I focus on that, I am a great real estate agent. I am the best real estate agent. I
Yeah.
am the expert in the condo market. I am going to complete this book and focus on all those wonderful things and how my life is just going to get better and better. Well,
Yeah.
that will expand in my life, right? So that's one thing that came to mind. And, we could probably talk another 40 minutes on just that one little subject right there, couldn't we?
We sure could, but that is, again, wisdom of the ages, my friends. Is you just heard it here now, and really is about this. We're going to always brush up against contrast of things we don't want. Just ask for, what do I want, and start thinking. And one of the things now is, I want you to think about, you're going to have the best holiday season that you've ever had, and then the best 2019, and use Ryan's wisdom there to start saying these things to yourself, and that you'll see that it will become true for you, and your dreams will come true. And with that, Ryan Shea, we thank you so much. Again, if you want to get in touch with this amazing man, this brilliant creator, like all of you are, but he's actually been intentional and deliberate and created this mammoth real estate business and credibility and the kindness of him. It's condolivingdallas.com is the best place to get a hold of him. And for all of you, that both for Ryan and I, that we wish you the best Thanksgiving, the best Christmas, and the best holiday season in 2019. And any way that we can help you, just call on us, and we're here for you. Is that right, Brian?
Absolutely. Sounds awesome. Awesome. I did it well. That. Love you, Dr. Hank. Thank you.
Okay, love you, Brian. Thanks so much for being on the show, and all of you, thank you, and all the best. God bless you. Bye bye.